So yeah, as I was saying off air, man, this is obviously a podcast where we like to share our perspective, but more importantly, the perspective of others. And I guess that's where the name You Decide comes from, essentially. So without further ado, I think I hand it over to Bo, who has the honor of introducing our guest today.
Yes, I do. Firstly, why have I been demoted to the back? New Zealand born Samoan, he's made 18 appearances for the people's team. The Manu started and is still playing his professional rugby at North Harbour. Also played NPC for Tasman and Manawatu, debuted for Super Rugby
Michaels
at the Highlanders, and then went on to play for the Blues, a part of the New Zealand Super Rugby champions in 2021.
Oh, come on.
Recently a part of the people's second team, Moana Pasifika. Roots run deep in West Auckland, another Massey High alumni. Massey Mafia again, stand up for your boy Ray Niuia.
Let's go, boys.
Welcome to the pod,
Yeah.
Can I just ask a quick question off the bat? That 2021 championship that you won with the Blues, would you consider that a bubble ring? Would you consider that a Mickey Mouse championship, or
Put in the
straight at the crossfire already?
Hey, I just needed to get it out there.
That's a good question, Can I ask you a question?
How many championships do you have? Show me a ring.
Look, I got
the
nothing.
Crusaders winning that New Zealand one? Is that considered a championship for them? And they're like 7 or
Right.
6, you know?
Right, yeah.
So
I like
I
that.
think, that's a championship in itself, because we played Australian teams that year, I think.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, let's rewind it a little further back. Was his bio all cap, or was he telling them the truth, everything that Bo said?
You know,
Did you get that off Wikipedia?
I forgot to say I'm born in 1950.
That's pretty.
That's our guy.
Yeah.
Man, well, it's a pleasure to have you on also, and thanks for making the time. We always appreciate when people come on and share a bit about their life experience, and we know that there's some richness for us to take away as well as the viewers, So yeah, it's good to have you on. So yeah, Jeff already talked about the Blues Championship. I guess we'll start from there then. Tell us about, I guess, the first time. It wasn't the Blues, it was the Highlanders. Super Rugby. What was that like, putting on that jersey and running out for Super Rugby for the first time?
Your debut, right?
Your debut.
In Super Rugby?
Yeah, for the Landers. That was, obviously, I've always wanted to play for the Blues first.
Yeah.
But I had to go somewhere else to sort of find another pathway.
Right.
And in 2016, I did my ACL, had a year off rugby, and then my agent was like, there's opportunity down in Tasman. Not a contract, but there's a hooker spot there available. So anyways, I went down, did club there, and I was building at the time down there too, so I was trying to get my apprenticeship to be a chipper. Sorry, that's the slang. I did the old train in the morning, work during the day, and then I go back to training at night. So I did that I slogged it out for like 6 months.
How are you with your measurements if you didn't finish school?
Hey, leave the guests alone, man. Let's carry on.
I could do this to this guy as well.
And then I did that, and I was blessed enough to crack on and make the market team that year.
Yeah.
And then that sort of took off. Like my rugby career took off from there. Coached by Leon McDonald, one of the greats, and then after that season, it was like opportunities came in, doors were opening. I had a awesome season under there. The culture was unreal. That's when Samoa came knocking on the door.
Right.
And I debuted the end of the year tour that year. And then before the Landers, there was a Crusaders spot, and it wasn't a contract. It was just a preseason. I put that on hold, and it was sort of just like trying to focus on Samoa. But then the Landers came, and they offered a draft contract. It's not a full contract. It's like a, what do they call it these days? It's so you're not on full contract. You're sort of just on the side. You're contracted, but you're not first pick sort of. So you're like a injury cover.
Oh yeah.
So it's called a draft contract. So I took the draft contract, but like as I was telling my wife the other day, man, what if I took that Crusaders pass would have changed, or I don't even know what would happen, I could have been with them. But anyways, I took that, and then there was it was a rocky road down at the Landers, but I managed to cap one cap there, and then just injuries galore, and then
I guess something like you already alluded to earlier, you wanted to play for the Blues, obviously as a Auckland boy, particularly here in West Auckland, being away from family would have made that journey a bit hard as well. But tell us about that, growing up here in West Auckland, and what was the story behind Ray before you were running amok at Massey High?
Obviously born and bred out west. Went to Don Buck. Yeah. I lived like right behind Don Buck School, and I loved it. Like, back in the days where we didn't really have phones, and I lived at a humble ass spot where there was a house in the front, one in the middle, and then us at the back. So the house in the front was one of my closest boys, man, and till this day he's still one of my closest boys. I don't know if you guys know him. It's Eli Seko, real gangster, eh? Yeah. So I went Don Buck with him, and we'd always used to so after school, me, him, and my brother would always used to go back to Don Buck and just like throw the ball around and play kilikiki or play tag on the roof, and that was the day, man. Those were the days where, like, man, you do nothing, like, you don't have to pay for anything for entertainment,
Sure.
And then obviously made my way to Massey High School, where it sort of opened my eyes, to the girls. Obviously it was a co-ed school, but it was awesome, man. I didn't really like play rugby because I wanted to be a rugby player. I played because obviously my brother was pretty good at it, and Ellie, he was pretty good too. And then I got to meet friends at Massey High School, and all they wanted to do was play rugby, so that's how I sort of like got into it.
Oh wow. Whilst you were there, did you win any chips for Massey High?
Man, have you ever heard of a First 15 share a championship?
No,
I
haven't.
Crazy, eh? So my first 15, we were in a final with Takapuna High School, and we drew, and they were like, "Oh, share the championship."
It wasn't like those LaSalle and St. Kitts thing where it's like first who won
so it wasn't like that.
Oh, true.
So we actually shared the championship.
Wait, so how does that work? Do you guys both hold the trophy at the
So our captain was holding one side. Together, we are champions.
Your captain was holding one side, their captain was holding, and you're holding his pocket.
There he is. Did you guys high five each other? Short champ.
Oh, gee.
We celebrated together after the game. It was so weird. But we, my last year of Massey High School, I was grateful enough to captain that First 15. And we made it to the final against Rosmini. We were doing so well that whole year, and I remember it, man, so vividly. Like, that was the worst game that we ever played in Rosmini. That's when they had Gareth Anscombe. You guys know Gareth Anscombe?
Yeah.
So that guy carried them, and just kicked goals, breaking the line, and he pretty much won the ship for them. So that was one of my worst memories, man. Rugby memories, anyways. Yeah.
You said that you mainly played rugby because of your boys, and you know you guys got to hang out and just chill. What year did you finally say, like, to yourself, you know what, I can make something of this? Like I can make it big. When did you realize that?
When I made the 5th grade gold team, so there was a 5th grade black and a 5th grade gold, and my cousin Phil Tuingamala.
Hey, shout out to Phil.
Yeah.
Shout out to those. So so I was going for 5th grade black that year because I was obviously too young.
Right.
But I linked up with him and he's like, man, come try and have a crack, 5th grade gold, and that's when I played. You shush. That's when I played fullback, Solly.
Nah, that's gotta be a G.
I was bad at kicking, Solly. Nah. Yeah, and then I made that team, and yeah, we did really well. We went to nationals, came 4th, and that was history, man. And I was like, man, this is actually pretty fun, eh? And that's when Negus was our head boy,
right.
and I looked up to him, man. Really, I think that's when I started taking it serious because Ken was you know, he was one of my idols growing up. He got, like, obviously at Massey, and when watching the first 15 play, I was like, man, I want to be like these guys.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And when they started playing like Harbour 18s, it's like, oh man, I want to be like these guys because my brother was playing with him.
Right.
He played in first 15, and then that was the sort of the turning point where I was like, I actually want to play, you know, for the first 15, because back then, playing for the first 15 in high school, that's like professional, like, in the middle of my day, you know?
For sure.
So, yeah, that was sort of the turning point when I fifth form.
Yeah. So what was that transition like from playing 5th grade, playing first 15, being the captain, and then that transition out of first 15 to professional rugby? What was that like for you? Or can you...
So like in that comp, that Harbour comp for schools, like you were like that, you were him, you know,
right?
Like, and you had a status, you had a something that you had to prove something after school, you know. So first 15, you're the captain. You wanted to carry that legacy on, like. You didn't want to be like a first 15 captain, or you carved up at school and then just be like,
for sure.
You know? So in my head, I was like, man, I have to like prove something to these guys that I'm actually worth something, eh?
Right.
So I was obviously gone into the Harbour Academy, and I signed my first contract, and I told my dad, and it was an academy contract there.
Right.
But I told my dad, I got a contract from Harbour.
Full contract?
He's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, they called me and they said they wanted to sign me. It was only an academy contract. 1,500 for the whole year. But anyways, like, you know, that was like pretty big for us.
That's a big moment
massive,
at that age. How old were you?
22.
I was 18 coming out of school. Yeah. And yeah, it was just from there. I just wanted to go into the academy and just, you know, go from that first 15 captain. You know, thought I was the man. And then came into Harbour Academy, so I got humbled, like massively. Like, it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy. Training in the morning, and because I didn't have a job after school, so I trained in the morning, come home, and I thought I was like this professional athlete, come home, do no hours, go sleep, and my mom was like, "Sole, this guy is playing up."
we checked about, you know, your contract, and that's, you know, hee-ha about that, but it had to be like a bittersweet feeling, like telling your dad about that. I know, like, you know, you've something you've worked towards your whole life, and to get your first contract, how was that? You know, giving him that good news that this is a stepping stone to get to where I want to be, which is Super Rugby.
Yeah, hard out. my dad just he was happy, but he was like he was always that guy that kept me grounded. Like he didn't care that he cared. I reckon he didn't really show it. Like he was happy, but he was always that guy for me to keep me grounded. It's like, but it doesn't stop here. So my dad wasn't a guy that really showed emotions. So I knew he was proud, but at the same time, I knew he wanted me to be better. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
That transition that Jeff was talking about, I think like a lot of us experience that coming out of high school, where it's like you actually are in a bubble.
Yeah,
You know, you got
sure.
your mates, it's
Yeah.
all good, you don't pay bills, and then you go into the real world and you're like, oh, like crap.
Yeah,
Like you actually got to work hard for the day. And you're talking about like, you know, coming out of high school, going into that, but then also like I think in a sporting setting or like as an athlete, like you're going into a place where you're looking at like guys at the top of their game, some of the best athletes. How did you navigate that as like a young brown kid? Because I'm assuming that no one else had gone into this. Like you're the first to go through the academy.
It
like,
was from Massey High School. It was supposed to be me. Do you guys remember Sam Lily?
Yes,
Oh.
I know the name. Yeah.
Sam. Yep.
Man, he was like he was the talk coming out of school. Sam Lily.
He was quick, man.
Yeah, man,
He was
yeah,
on.
He was gifted. But I don't think he came to. I don't think he signed that contract, or I think he wanted to do something else. But it was myself, Gareth Anscombe, and Jack Whitten from school. So I sort of knew those guys from playing them. Obviously, they would play for Rosmini, and I was pretty much the only one from Massey High School, this brown kid coming, going over to the North Shore and stuff, and it was tough, man. Like it was like I see, because in the morning when the academy would train first, and then obviously the big dogs will come. So I'd see Ave and Ken and Nuffs. They will come later, and I'll do extras just to stay there, just to watch them train. And so it was like, I was in awe, man, and I just wanted to be like those guys. So it was crazy, man.
That would have been, I think, real cool for you, because you would have seen those boys coming, like playing up, coming through high school, like obviously Ave and Kenny and that, and then to see them doing it as professionals. I think like, did it to you mean like, did it look like, oh, I can actually do that because like these are the guys that were just with me in high school? Did it look attainable to you, or was it still like this faraway dream at that point?
My first year, I thought, it was still far away from it. Like, my second year academy, I thought I was getting closer, but it was like it was getting harder and harder. You know, and then obviously because I was signed 2 years for academy, and if you don't really crack on after 2 years, you pretty much like they either give you a contract or you just go back to work.
Right.
You know, so after my 2 years, I wasn't like signed straight away. I was like back at work, play club, still in the setup for Harbour, but I was like, I'd choose to go to, like I wasn't contracted, but I would choose to go in the morning to Millennium, where Harbour was held. I would choose to go by myself, or just because I wanted to be there. But there was guys along the way that helped me. Chris Vui was one of them. Nagus was one of, like, he was the biggest one. We used to carpool to Millennium.
Right.
You guys, Nagus, Ken. He would push me to go to Harbour trainings in the morning. You know, even though I wasn't contracted, sometimes he would pick me up from home and I'm still sleeping. He'll come knocking on my door,
right,
and he'll just be like, "So let's go to the gym, man." And we're gym at his house. If you guys don't know where his parents stay, he's got a gym at his house. Well, sometimes on a Sunday, I'd go gym at his house. So I'm pretty grateful for boys like that, and you know, to help me along the way. So after the 2 years, I was still far away. I wasn't signed. I didn't know what I was doing. I was still playing Massey Rugby Club, Prems, and then not till 2013 where I was injured, bro. I did my ankle, I think in the round robin game, and Liam Barry was the coach for North Harbour that time.
Right.
And I got a call from him mid-season. I got a call from him, and he's like, "Oh, come see me in my office." And I was injured, and then I thought the call was like, "So we're not going to sign you this year."
Yeah.
Another year of disappointment. And I was in a moon boot when I went and saw him. And in that meeting, he was just like, "Is this what you want to do?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah, this is the dream." And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna give you a contract."
Oh,
And
Man.
that year, man, I was training. I was like dedicated to this.
Training the house down.
Training the house down, eh? The old cliche.
Training the house down.
Yeah.
but still not doing for elves.
Oh man,
Yeah.
still no jobs.
But just oh, sorry. You go.
Yeah, I was. I think I was with the harbour. I would call the harbour trainer and ask for like extras. So I'd go to North Shore because he was based in Devonport, and he must have gave the word back to the coach and was like, "Bro, this guy's actually keen to play." So I was grateful that year, man.
Before you got your contract, you said you had your 2-year draft contract, was it?
Yep.
And you didn't get signed. So you're still in limbo. How do you tell your old man about that you're like I've got nothing from here, and you're still trying to train to obviously get to where you are at that point. But how do you tell him that?
How do you justify not paying ball?
Yeah, and still with no
I
job.
want to write this down.
How do you tell him? Oh, I actually didn't pick up anything.
I actually got a job straight after that because I needed it to support myself and obviously support my family.
Right.
And I worked at Magnum Filters, where that's the famous spot where all the Massey Rugby Club boys come from, and
I remember those videos.
Yeah, I remember those two.
Shout out to Magnum Filters, man.
Serena Lee.
Sponsor us.
Solid. All the boys work there. Can we just go off topic?
Go where you want to go.
Tell us about that.
So Magnum Filters, honestly, they're lifesavers, eh?
Yeah.
If you talk about superstars coming out of there, we had SE02Ep coming out of there. Tavita Lee, Abraham Papali'i.
Who's that?
Your brother-in-law. All Chris Vui worked there.
Yeah.
But there's this guy, man, Peter Hogg. He owns the business, eh? He just has so much love and passion for the boys that play for Massey Rugby Club.
Yeah.
And he sponsors Massey Rugby Club. But honestly, if I was to choose one guy that helped me massively in my career, it would be that guy, eh?
Yeah.
Peter
Wow.
Hogg. So yeah, a few yarns with that guy, but yeah, he helped a lot of rugby players, crack on to not just as a mentor, but as a not just a boss too. Like he was helping us financially, eh? So he was a good man, family man, eh? So, but anyways, what was our topic here?
No, that's good.
Yeah, that's
No,
good.
because you talked about this already, and like what I'm hearing is like being surrounded by people who really want the best for you. So you already talked about Kenny and obviously
Peter Hogg.
Peter, yeah. So I just called him by his first name, but like having people like we talked about this in season 1, eh?
Yep.
Like being surrounded by good people. Did you ever have to like filter out like, man, like I've got these boys, but they're not the best for me at this point in my life. Like they're not really about the training, or they not really helping me to get where I want to go. Did you ever have to do that? Because obviously as an athlete, like you are constantly, like obviously you're training all the time. I mean, you probably have to eat well, like the focus there and having the drive. Like is it easier when you just have people who want to do that with you?
Yeah.
As opposed to like people who are trying to distract you from doing that?
Yeah, hard out.
Like hanging out with Chris, remember those times? Separate yourself from him.
Because that's why I don't talk to this guy.
This guy, right?
You know? Far. I didn't really think about that. Like, I think not like tell them that you're not good for me, or probably just like stop. Not stop talking to them, but more like not having the time for them anymore. Because like I want to go this way, and if you want to go that way, that's cool. I'll still be your friend, but like, you know, I got my priorities and stuff, and it's not like I'm blocking them out or anything. It's you know, if I have the time to hang out, then sweet, but if not, then, you know, I got things to do.
Hard. No, that's cool.
That's a tough question, man.
No, because like the thing is, I'm listening to like you picking up extras, turning up these trainings, not getting paid for it. Like that drive or that sense of really wanting to get something. Like not a lot of people have it. And to want it on that level where you're willing to like put on hold, like, because to be honest, most people would look and be like, oh look, I'll just go start a career somewhere else. But to keep going at it like over and over again until you got to it, was that modeled to you as a kid? Like, did you see someone else do that? Where did that come from?
I think it was more like I wanted to prove to my dad that I could do it. Because man, that guy was tough on me, hard out there. Like, he used to make me like run from. Do you guys remember where? Oh, do you guys remember where? Do you know where Rodders stay?
Yeah.
Do you know where Swanson? Do you know where the depot is? Yeah, my dad used to make me run from Tapaton Park all the way to the bus depot in Swanson. Man, I always used to hate it. And but he wouldn't make me do it by myself. He would make me and my brother do it. And because my brother was fitter than me that time, so like I would be gunging at the back end. So, and I would always bank those memories growing up. And I think it was like my dad drilled it into me to not give up or to not be afraid of a challenge, or because he would make me run to the bus depot, and then he would make me run back home. So I was like, so like this.
At least catch the bus home.
This guy. No, funny because he'll go run to my work and wait at the petrol thing to fill up my bus. And then wait there. So I would run to his work, and then I'll wait where the petrol thing is, and he goes, fill my bus. I'll fill up his bus, mop his bus, clean his bus. It's like, sicky man, I can't wait to get home. It's like, Sully, run back home. Oh man. And then my brother was in the driver's seat with my dad.
Yeah.
Just because I came last. But anyways, I would always like think of those times when it gets tough. And those memories will come back to me like, bro, trying to crack it wasn't as hard as growing up, man. You know, we were poor, man, and we had sometimes we'd have no dinner. Those are tough times, you know.
Right.
So I think those growing up, those moments, man, really helped me to really want to crack it, because to prove something that I can do it, especially to my old man. So if you're listening, Solly.
Well, that's what separates, you know, athletes now to guys like me who wanted to play in the NRL but didn't do those extras running anyway. I just turned up on game day, but that's sicky.
Just like what you were saying, like all that hard work that you put in, even though you hated it at the time, like you've reaped the rewards for it. You reap what you sow, right? And it's good to hear that, like, because not everyone just makes it purely off just talent. You also put in that hard work, which also got you there. I want to just talk about some of your injuries that you've brought up. You're saying that, you know, you were in a moon boot when you first signed your first proper contract, and you also did say, I think you got an injury before, and you took a year off before going to, was it Highlanders or Tasman? Before going to Tasman. Talk us through what it's like to navigate through ACL injuries and just the mental toll it takes on you. You know, because it sounds like you've been through a few injuries in your time, and I know it's not easy for anyone to go through an injury and then bounce back, then get injured again and then bounce back. Talk us through what that's like.
So my biggest injury was my ACL, my first one, my left knee, and that happened not in a professional environment. That happened at Massey Sevens. Sole. Fiaka alo Sevens tama.
Oh, you're a fullback, remember?
But yeah, there was a Glenfield Sevens competition, and I was playing for Massey, the Mafia, and I hurt my knee. I didn't know it was an ACL, and I was off contract that year too. Yeah. So I was actually like so gutted, man. Like I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take this year off. Do my rehab, and that's when I was like, what am I gonna do? No, I didn't have a job too.
Right.
And that's when I was like, I think this is a good time for me to think like, what am I gonna do after rugby? You know.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't have a plan B, and I thought I was just gonna be playing rugby for ages, you know.
Yep.
And that's when I picked up the tools. I decided to go try and do building, and so I started from the bottom there. Like I was sweeping floors.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't on the tools. So funny, I rocked up with my belt. I rocked up with a belt, a hammer, a pencil, and a measuring tape. And I was like taking snaps of myself, like, walking down the driveway to our first site. And the guy said to me, "Can you just take off your belt?" Just grab the broom
And sasa yourself with it?
Solid, man. That would be my first day. Was the worst day of my life. So. But yeah, and then I just did that for the whole year. I did rehab too.
Right.
But like I was building, and I didn't want to do rehab. That year I said I would have a break from rugby. But then there was something in me, man, that was like, man, I can still play. I still got a lot of rugby in me. So, mind you, I didn't train full time, so I would use food to like take away my depression. You know, I was depressed that year, and I'm like, if I'm depressed, I'll eat.
Yeah.
You know,
Emotional eater.
Yeah, man, that was me.
Yeah.
And I went from like 115 to 130, so I gained like 15 kgs that year.
Yeah.
And I was still assigned to this agent where he's like, "What do you want to do?" You know, and then obviously I still wanted to play rugby, but then I was like, man, I'm too big to train, or I tried to train that year, and I said to my gang, I was like, I'm gonna go try and crack it somewhere else, you know. That's when that Tasman thing happened. But that was my first injury. Fast forward to when I came up to the Blues, my debut for the Blues.
Yep.
Like 30 seconds to go. I do my ACL on my right knee, and that was a friendly fire from my mate Offa. Shout out to Offa. But that was just in the game. Like I don't blame him for it, you know. It was just in the moment, and he took out my knee, and that was me for the season. So another ACL injury. I was thinking, man, like this is it for me,
Yeah.
But I was still signed for the Blues for another year, and also Tasman. So instead of going down to Tasman, I decided to stay up with the Blues trainer and do my rehab with him.
Right.
And that was tough, man. I was in a dark place, and obviously COVID happened.
Yeah.
So I was training by myself, but that was like I think that was the best rehab I've ever done, man. Because then again I put on more weight. I went to 130 again. And then I had a meeting with the CEO with the Blues, and they're like you gotta lose weight or else we'll cut your contract there.
Right.
But these guys didn't know that I was a emotional eater, or, you know. And so drew the line in the sand, went again, and I proved. And I said to them, I was like, I'm gonna lose this much weight. I had a a call with the CEO, the trainers, and the coaches. I'm like, I'll put my contract on it. If I don't come back at this weight, by then you guys can cut my contract. So I had to prove to them and also to myself that I can do it.
Yep.
Nice.
So I went from 130, got down to 114 that year, and it was I felt real good. And then I came back that year that we took it out. I came back for the semi-final and the final.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can say I'm a champion.
You're part of
Yeah,
that.
you're a champion.
Yeah.
And to come back in that fashion, you know, after going from like going through your bouts of depression and to top it off like that, I think it would have been really rewarding for you. But talk us through that, if you don't mind. Like, you talked about the dark place, and you know, for you it's the eating. For other people, it's other things like, you know, George last week shared about, you know, it was drinking for him.
Yep.
Hey, and I think for a lot of guys, it's real tough to talk about this sort of stuff. And for whatever reason, but I'm looking at, you know, you and thinking about Ave last week, like, you couldn't be in a more manly sport or profession
Yep.
that tells you, like, bro, you know, suck it up, harden up,
Harden up.
you know? Was it hard, or was it difficult for you to address that, or did you know it was depression at the time?
No, you don't really. It doesn't really come off as depression. It's more like you're feeling sad, or like you, or maybe we're just too naive to say it is depression. You know,
Right.
Yep.
But thinking back that time, like, yeah, man, I was depressed, and you don't know it at the time, but I think after it, you look back and you're like, man, actually, I was, you know, and like my wife was, she knew it, and she was just like, don't eat this or don't eat that, and I was just like, nah, I'm alright, I'm sicky. I'll just do a bike after. A little. But you don't actually know until after, when you come out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes it's sad because at the time you don't know, and it's almost too late for someone, you know. But I think for having my wife there was a massive help, and also I was keeping in contact with I'm actually quite close with Josh Aloy, and he was helping me through that too. And so I think, like, when you do go through those times, it's like the people around you, the closest, you have to, like, listen to them, not close them off, especially your gengi or your brother or something. If they're telling you that you're not okay, man, it's okay to not be okay. You know,
for sure.
So to answer your question, man, it's like hard at the time to admit that you're depressed, but I reckon after it is like,
speaking on after it, you've gone through this phase of depression, you've dropped the weight, and you've proven to the CEO that, you know, I'm here, I can do this. And like you said, you made it back for the finals. Talk us through that feeling, you know, being back on the park, you know, after doing an ACL. Because I've seen a video of you and all the boys are there, and you get told that you're playing, and you know, everyone's chahuing and ready for you to play.
I was after a long year, 15 months of rehab, and then to be told that you'll be playing, man, it's like there's that saying that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That was the light, man, you know. And to be wearing the Blues colours and playing in a semi-final, you can't get any better than that. I don't care if it was like 5 minutes or 4 minutes on the park, or but the semi-final, it was unreal feeling. The semi-final though, I came on 15 minutes to go, I think it was, and so I got yellow carded. I got yellow carded, and came back on for one more scrum, and my brother was mocking me that night because I went and saw him, and you know those ones where you get subbed on And as you're running on the park, it's the.
Yeah.
So that was the moment, man.
Was that the final or the semi?
Nah, semi.
Semi.
And then I thought, man, I'm not gonna get picked for the final because I did something stupid, you know. But then, I got named in the final.
Yeah.
And that feeling was unreal too because, obviously we won it, but I didn't get on till like 40 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Right.
But I managed to get on, but I was running on and I was like going like this.
Yeah.
Because it was the Landers, you know, that was my old team and I wanted to like
Yeah.
shove it in their face.
Yeah.
And as soon as that whistle went, man, looked at my jersey, it was clean. And
Started putting some.
oh man, I was trying to slide for the celebration.
Man, that's such a cool journey, eh? You know, facing those dark times of depression, and then navigating your way through that, working back, you know, from injury, and then to make the semi, and to play in the final, even though it was 40 seconds. You know, that still means a lot to yourself, because I think often we try to prove people wrong, but really we should try to prove ourselves right. And I think that's something that resonates with your story. You know, it's like, like you got expectations from your dad, even maybe some expectations from family, but what it is, it's that you expected it from yourself and you went out and did it. And that's what resonates with me, is that, man, you put in that work. Yeah, you got yourself from those ACL injuries and you got to the final. And now that when you're on that mountaintop, you know, there's no better feeling, even if it's the 40 seconds that you're talking about.
But you know, the cool thing is as well is that you're not on this mountaintop alone. You know, you see it, like you got your wife there, you got your also there, you got your families around you, and that just having that support network must be like, you know, it's invaluable, which is where I want to go to next, because you've already alluded to your old man and the drive he kind of instilled in you as a young boy. You mentioned your wife as well, and we all know the power of the female figures in our own lives, and just how inspirational. I remember seeing a video you talking about your mum as well, and talking about how she was a inspiration for you, growing up. So tell us about like mum and dad's, you know, their parenting style. What was it like for them? Were they like some of our parents who like straight from Samoa as like maybe 20-year-olds and started their family here? What were they like as parents for you growing up?
So my mom, she went to Hillary College. She was born in Samoa, but she came over quite early. So she went to Hillary, and she's the like kickback but real soft spoken.
Yep.
She's not the hard one on me. She just sort of like backs me up, or if my man's being hard on me, she's sort of just like, oh, you know what dad's like. He's just trying to make you a better person. And obviously my dad came over when he was 19, but the stories I heard of that guy, man, fear fighting,
Hey, the apple doesn't fall far, eh?
You're not wrong there, man. And he's just this, you know, he so he says, the scucks, and thought he was a scucks back in the days, and he didn't know much English, you know, coming from Samoa, and he lived out south with his cousins, and like I think my old man, he wasn't really around when I was younger, so I've heard, and but as we were growing up, like just telling you guys before, he was quite hard on us, and he didn't really spoil us, because I think because he was the only child and he got everything that he wanted, you know. And I think he wanted us to learn the hard way, which was like, you got to earn this, or you know,
for sure.
But my mom was the cool one, you know. She was the soft spoken one, and she really helped us through a lot growing up. So their parenting was soft, and then there was a hard one. You know?
You got a good balance.
Yeah, good balance for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're alluding to the fact that your dad didn't really show much emotion towards you.
Classic Samoan dad.
Classic. It's the classic, right? And you know, he was always hard on you. And you know, you could see that it did help you because you made it this far. But now that you're a dad, you know, what is it like? You know, because your dad was so hard on you. What are you like towards your kids? You know, are you showing them, you know, a difference? And because we're in a different society now, eh? You know, it's
so you
not
can't
like,
beat up your kids.
it's not like us when we were growing up, getting hidings and stuff like that. So, talk us through what it's like to be a dad and to, you know, just that whole situation.
Yeah, that saying, you wait till you have your own kids, then you'll know. So like, I 100% believe in that saying. But yeah, obviously being a dad is unreal. Like, sometimes most of the time it's hard coming home from training, and you want to entertain your kids, but you're just like le lava to the days. But I'm hard on my boys, but like I want to give them a life where I sort of didn't live, you know. And but I don't want to spoil them too much where they think they can just have anything, or because I want to sort of raise them how my dad raised me, like be grateful for the little things, and you know, because these two, man, they think they can just do whatever they want to. And but you have to draw the line where discipline comes in,
right?
You know, like I don't like it if he talks back to me. Like my dad didn't like that. But I don't want to like do that cycle where I'm giving him a hiding, or obviously talk to him, try and talk to him in a nice way. But if he's not listening, that's when discipline comes in, eh?
Right.
You know? And I don't like, I give him not a hiding, but you know.
But like you know what you were talking about there is like, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but they were saying like, I want my kids to learn the same lessons I learned, but just not in the same way I had to learn it. You know? And like, I think there's some like real power in there, is that you as a father now can look back at, you know, how your dad fathered you, and you're like, I like, you know, these things about it, and I want my kids to learn that, eh? So what would you say are some of those lessons that you've taken from mum and dad, and that you really want to apply to, you know, your kids and your role as a father?
I think the one thing, one of them will be, well, one top thing will be respect. That's a massive thing for me. My dad always told me to respect my older brother, obviously because he's older, my elders, and then just the people around you. You don't want to go somewhere and then you're disrespecting someone, and then you're like, sorry, this guy is disrespectful, you know?
Right.
But I'm massive on respect. I always like tell my boys, listen to their nana, or like if your nana's telling you something, like do it. Or if your nana's calling you, like answer them. But my son, man, he's like to a point where his nana's calling him, and the kama's just like looking at his iPad, or just like. But those are the little things I'm like, Soli, you got to listen to your nana, or you got to listen to your mum. So respect would be one of them. Obviously, my biggest one is faith. You know,
talk about
taking them to local. Because that was drilled into us. Mum and dad forced us to go to church, but thinking back now, man, I'm happy they did that, because
for sure,
like that's my foundation, you know. So faith, and they don't really know it now, but you know, I'm praying that one day they'll find their relationship with God, and I just hope they, you know, go down that path. But I just taking them to Sunday school, or they call it church school when Church Unlimited. So
nice.
So respect and faith is massive for me.
Bo, did you have a question? You're the only one here with kids, so
And he keeps going, oh no, that's a question.
Did you have a question?
Not necessarily about kids and stuff, but you talked about your faith and how you try to raise your kids and up in church as well. I want to ask actually there's a few things I want to talk about, but I'll say something later. I want to ask when Blues came out for support on the Rainbow community. I know you were on the team that year, and they had rainbow pads up on the post there. How did you navigate through that, and how did you and I'm sure some of the other boys are probably.
You mentioned Josh as well. You know, he's quite stern on his faith.
Yeah, like that. Just you and some of the other Christian boys. Like, how did you find your way through that?
Well, I didn't support it, so I didn't repost or anything. I just didn't they didn't force anything up to us to repost this or put up on your page, or so I just didn't affiliate it with it. I just let them do their thing and then just left it. I just didn't really talk about it, or I'm just I don't believe in that stuff.
Is that hard though, as an employee of those are your bosses, or the organization, the wider organization? Is it hard for players of especially players of faith? Is it, because I'm sure you guys would have had those conversations with each other, was it is it hard to kind of maneuver?
I think if they're forcing things upon us, then it's really hard for us to sort of step up and say hey, this is not what we believe in, but I think the good thing about Blues, they didn't force those kind of things on us to this is what we want you to promote, or so I think it was easy for me to just you guys do you, man, and and I
guess that's essentially it. It's be who you want to be, and but as long as I'm free to be who I want to be and believe in what I want to believe in, and the Blues are a cool and amazing organization, but the real Blue jersey, the people's team.
Let's get there.
Man, what was it? Tell us about that. Was it, as far as was it in line with a career goal, to don the Manu jersey, or did it just happen upon you?
I've always wanted to play for Samoa, but I didn't know how to get there, or who to contact, because I was playing for just a provincial team, and I didn't know if you'll get picked from there, or you have to make super. But when Steve Jackson got the job, that's when I knew it's pretty much who you know,
right?
Because he coached me at Harbour, and he gave me a call, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coaching the Manu Samoa team, and pretty keen to put your name forward, And I was like, "Oh, Seki, is this really happening, And that in the year tour that I made, I was like, I told my old man, he was stoked as
he must have been.
Yeah, and to debut that year, 2018, that was a dream come true, man.
Yeah.
And to play with Tusi, bro, that was massive.
Was that the first time you would have played with him, eh?
Yeah,
because he would have been one of the older boys.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He was gone when I was in the Massey Mafia, Massey Rugby Club, and it was only, the only PC I played with was Ken, because Ave was in Northampton,
right,
and Tusi was in Bristol, I think.
Yeah, at the BSA.
Yeah, so, but playing with Tusi, man, that was massive for me. But during that game, I came on.
Was that against
USA?
America? Yeah.
USA, and when you you're debuting for a team, and all you want to do is just make them proud, or try and show your talent.
Yeah.
Right. I think Tusi had passed me the ball, and I heard him say pass the ball to the winger. So what do you do?
Dummy.
You dummy and go.
You're thinking, nah, I got a better one.
Here's a better option for you.
Things. Dummy and go, eh?
And there you go. Dummy and go. I think I got a turnover. And Tusi like came up to me. He's like, Soli, pasi polo. Ah man, I was just like, yeah. Anyways, we lost that game and like obviously was disappointed, but at the same time I was, proud of myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I was waiting for Tusi to come back in the changing room because I really wanted to take a photo with him.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got the photo and I posted it up straight away because I just wanted to show like my brothers and obviously the Massey boys that I played with
cool,
Tusi, man.
man.
It was
Yeah.
cool. So
Yeah.
That's mean.
yeah.
But what you've made your debut before kickoff. You sing the anthem. What's that like?
Yeah,
For the
man.
first time ever. I know tears would have been shed.
Yeah.
Did you know the lyrics or?
Samoa. I actually did, mate.
Nah, yeah.
And then the Siva Tau to follow it too. Like,
Yeah.
was that like quite an experience doing that with the boys? And
Yeah. So that process with the sivakau, your roomie has to teach you the sivakau, and then what is it? The night before captain's run, the old boys, you'll do it to the old boys, and then the old boys will do it back to you.
yeah.
So man,
That's
that was
cool.
intimidating, eh? Like I think there was three or four of us that was debuting.
Debut.
Yeah.
So there was 4 guys doing the sivakau to like 20 old guys. But that's always been a tradition, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then so I tried practice all week, did it, and then to do it against USA or do it live was man, you just different feeling, eh? It's hard to explain.
Yeah. Like I'm putting you on the spot here, but what's your Mount Rushmore of Manu Samoa players ever?
So that's 4.
That's 4.
My first one would be Trevor Lieto,
Eesh.
just because he's a hooker.
He's just Trevor,
Yeah.
eh? That guy, man.
Yeah, and then for a bit cliche, but I'd say Tus.
Yeah.
He's a living legend for Manu, eh?
Manu, highest
And
scorer, eh?
yeah,
Highest point
and
scorer.
Brian Lima,
Sure.
chiropractor,
Yeah, man.
and then Vaenga. Yeah, he was a legend, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a nice Rushmore.
That last episode, George talked about Manu was like the people's team, eh?
Yeah.
Do you kind of feel that tangata whenua call it wairua, but going back to Samoa and training, being amongst the people, do you feel that energy from them and like just being, like as the Manu, because I'm sure you walk around like the Manu players in Samoa, are just like,
Yeah.
like same as the All Blacks here. You
Yeah.
guys are just like really elevated. But do you feel that kind of energy and like the support from everyone?
You do when you're winning.
That was my follow-up question.
Surely. You do when you're winning, but then when you're not winning,
Yeah.
they tell you straight up, you know? But that's just us, man. Samoans, like,
Yeah, for sure.
bro, you cop it bad in Samoa. They actually, like, really feed you, man. But, yep, you can feel the atmosphere hard out when you're winning, but then when you're losing, so it's different story.
Is
But
that-
there's still some supporters out there that were like, man,
Yeah.
Famalosi, man, keep
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
and but then there's some gronks out there.
Just to go off there, then you've made your debut in 2018.
Yeah.
2019, the World Cup comes around. you know, it's not our greatest campaign at the World
Yeah.
Cup. You know, how did the boys feel then? How were you guys coping with criticism of of some of the games that were played? I think we went down and
one day.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
first one. Yeah. Like obviously our first one we won. So we're on a high. Our people were our
beside
best
ya.
friends.
yeah.
They won supporters and then we lost the next three. Yeah, three.
Yep.
And then just getting bagged but for us players it's like we didn't really read into that stuff, eh?
Right.
Only a couple guys where they get really offended or they read into it. But for us, we say we play. Obviously, we play for Samoa, but it's more importantly like we're playing for our own family,
Yeah.
right? For ourselves, eh? We want to represent Samoa, but the older boys that were there, they were saying to us young guys like, we're gonna get criticized from our own people,
Right.
and it's up to us to either take it like on the chin
Yeah.
and use it as motivation or be a sock about it,
Yeah, I was just about to ask, how do you personally deal with criticism?
Yeah.
Because I know in this professional sports industry, right?
Yeah.
You're criticized all the time. You drop the ball, you're going to get criticized.
Yeah.
You lose, your team's going to get criticized.
Dummy and go.
You dummy, you dummy and go, you're going to get criticized by your own teammate. But how do you personally deal with that criticism? And do you have any advice for kids now that are coming through, especially with a social media age where there's a lot of criticism online? Do you have any advice, or how do you personally deal with it?
I think like I was actually pretty blessed to grow up, and at the time where I was sort of playing semi-pro, like social media wasn't big,
Yeah.
so I didn't really get criticized growing up. So
Right.
and you just don't read into it, eh? Like it's so easy to just go on social media after a game and just read comments with guys, but I actually asked Tusi this because as you guys know, like Tusi got bagged massively, yeah.
Yep.
And I just asked him, we were sitting in a sauna in Japan, and I was like, how do you deal with it, eh? And he's like, it's just white noise, eh? Like that's all he said. It's like, it's just white noise. I didn't care. Like he just doesn't. He obviously doesn't read into social media, and he has a strong, a wife of that
Support
with him
system.
and support system. And when he said that to me, like without trying to explain, he just said, "Nah, it's all good. It's just white noise. I don't care." I was just like, man, this guy's strong, eh?
Yeah.
You know? And ever since then, bro, if I had a bad game, I wouldn't care. The only criticism I'll take was my dad's, eh?
Right. Yeah.
You know, if he said I had a bad game, sorry, I knew I had a bad game. But like, even if I had like an alright game, my dad would still say, "Yeah, you're alright. Like, you can do this, that," you know. But the only criticism I'll take is like my brother, my wife, and obviously my dad.
The people that really matter to
That
you,
really
eh?
matter to me. So, you know, I read some comments, you know, and it's just a laugh, eh? You know.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you want to reply and say, "Sorry, you want to chuck some bits on and run a straight," you know? But obviously we get told to not reply, but personally, man, I just don't read into it, man. And if you're you know coming into this professional environment, I think the best thing is like, don't go on your phone straight away after the game.
Yeah.
You know? Especially if you had a bad game, because like those comments don't matter to you. You know, the moment you start worrying about other people, what other people think or say, that's when it gets to you, man. You know, but it's the people that matter to you when they tell you the truth.
Yep.
Those are the real ones, eh?
That's good advice, brother.
You know, speaking of the people that matter to you, you said that your dad, you only take his sort of criticism. How did he, or what kind of, or how did he feel? I'll say, when you played for the Manu against Tonga, you scored a hat trick for the first time.
Yeah.
How was he
Oh,
after
that's
that
right,
game?
yeah.
And then took us, through that game and scoring
Yeah.
3 tries for the Manu.
Yeah, that was a. Wasn't expecting to score 3 tries, but it was a team try. It was off the morning.
Credit to the boys.
Credit to
A
the
little
boys,
answer.
credit to the ladies in the kitchen. Yeah, but yeah, that was a sicky game to play because I had a lot of Moana Pasifika boys to play in the game.
Yeah.
But first half, we weren't the greatest.
Mm.
Came into the changing room and Chris Fui sparked the boys up. He said this sicky ass motivational speech. He's like, "Sole, if you guys don't want to carry, I'll carry for you." Like, that was him, Sole. And he's like, "You guys need to effing bar up. You guys are playing for this country and blah blah blah." But came out that second half, man, and I was sicky. But then my dad called me after that game. He didn't, that guy didn't even mention my 3 tries.
That's how you know. Yeah.
That's how you know. Hey. But he said, "Oh yeah, he's a good game." He's like, "Sully, what are you eating over there, Sully? You look like you're not losing any weight." That's him, eh? You know, like. But he said, "Yeah, I know he's proud." But he just obviously doesn't show it.
Yeah,
that
keep you
much.
grounded.
Yeah, keep
Yeah,
you
yeah.
grounded. Yeah.
And those games, like, they must be fun. They playing Tonga, playing Fiji.
Especially to get up over
Yeah.
Tonga.
Like,
Man, especially when you know the guys that's playing in the team.
Right.
Man, even it's special because, what is it? I got hit. I get Sione Havili, he like chopped me, and then Sione Tupolotu like hit me, and so like I did like a helicopter, and
Capoeira.
so, and all I heard was just, "Shame me little bit." I knew that was him, Sole.
yeah.
But like those things, the banter and
Yeah.
those games, man, you want to get up for. And but the one team that I hated to play was Fiki.
Yeah.
Man, you like train all week to like stop offloads, but bro, you just can't stop them, man.
Yeah.
But that's always a tough game to play against those guys, man. But to get one over them last year, PNC,
Yeah,
I think
PNC,
it was,
yeah.
That was sick, especially at home too.
Yeah, you just gotta admire it though, eh? It's
Yeah.
like, man, at that level, and to just be able to score from anywhere on the field, eh? These like Fijians. Well, like, are there any players that you're like, not this guy? Like when he's running the ball, or when they're
Tuisoa, bro.
yeah.
That guy's I saw him in real life last year, first time ever.
Yeah.
He's got no fat on him, eh? Calves of doom. But just watching his highlight reels, man, and then just to see it, and lucky I was off that game, eh? Because
you would have buckled him, eh?
lucky because he didn't run down my channel, eh? Nah. But yeah, he's one of them, eh? But what's his name? He concussed me this year. He played for Bristol. Can't remember his name.
Oh,
Fijian,
Simi Radavada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy too, eh? Yeah.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. He's not like muscly, but just bony, eh?
Ah.
But yeah, athletic guys,
Yeah,
man.
those are the worst guys to play. As an athlete, I know. The only guys. Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
body
bro.
type, eh?
But just to step away, just quickly, just step away from the professional scene. What do you call it? Maybe semi-rugby. Do you remember back in the day? We had church games. Myself and Paul, we played for our church, and then we rock up to the field, and they had these church comps playing. And we look across, and there's a team with you, Tavita Lee, and Abraham Bali, and we're like, we're playing athletes, we're playing professionals in this comp.
That's right.
Yeah, do you remember that?
The league comp.
The league comp,
eh?
yeah. Do you remember that? And do you remember like running for your own? And
Nah, that was
because you guys took it out, eh?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see,
Just
that's
little muck arounds, eh?
Nah, it was blame your brother-in-law, Solly. Abraham, man. He just like caught us, and because they didn't really have a like guys his age.
Yeah.
It was his youth, but it wasn't like,
Yeah.
So he gave us a call, and he's like, "So you guys keen to run around?" And Kama called Tavita Lee and all the superstars, and I was like, "Solly." But you guys were hissing that year too.
Yeah, I remember we had like trained the whole week. We even had
we even had like Braden.
Yeah, we had
So
Braden,
we had a semi-professional
Braden
team
Willie
too.
plays for the Sharks.
We had Josh Olier and we had James Gavitt was
He was
our
training
trainer. Yeah.
Actuals.
Yeah, but they like
He was
copped out.
Josh there.
They didn't want to play.
He wasn't allowed to play. But we had trained that whole week. Hey, and then we rocked up on game day and we saw 3 reviews. And we're like, oh, true.
Nah, I think my favorite highlight of that when Soti bumped off Abraham. Gee, because you know Abraham's big,
Yeah.
So like, when he bumped him off, I was like, "Fafik, guys, yeah, what a humble him, eh?" Nah, but he's
I remember
that was good, man.
That would be good fun, eh? So just running back to the Tonga, Fiji, and Manu, and you mentioned Moana, and kind of bring us into the last few years, of your career.
Yeah.
Being at Moana and like doing it tough, I guess, as a new franchise coming into Super Rugby. It's the first new franchise in how long?
Then would you consider the draw?
It was these guys in Drua, at the same year.
Since the Pumas lost.
Since the Pumas, what's that journey been like in the last few years? Or having to start a team from scratch, signing up and coming from obviously your experience at the Landers and then the Blues, and then coming into Moana. What was that like for you as a player?
It was hard, man. Trying to start something out of nothing,
Right.
like you came on one time.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
You taught us a few songs, and it was like, honestly, didn't know what to expect there, because it was either all in or boys start making their own clicks, but because we had like older guys like Christian, Sekope there.
Yeah.
Those guys were Jack, and those guys were like the pillars of ours. They were helping, because we had heaps of guys that haven't played Super Rugby before, and it was just hard for those guys because it's a full-time job, but the young guys don't get that sometimes,
Right.
and it was just, some guys were like knew what to do, but then some didn't, and it was just like I felt sorry for the older boys like Sekope and Christian, Jack, and trying to help these guys out, but then at the same time they wanted to focus on themselves too. So they were like mentors, they were like coach players, you know.
Yeah.
But for myself, it was like, honestly, man, I think I took it for granted. Like going into the environment, wasn't prepared or like fit enough to be at that level, you know.
Right.
So I honestly would have want to say, like, if I was to change one thing, it was to be like more professional and to help the younger boys at a level where I can say, or talk, because I thought coming into that team I would be like, another franchise, but it wasn't. It was harder than, starting a new franchise. So
do you think going into a new franchise, and you're talking about yourself not being as professional as you needed to be, was it an element of complacency? Were you just comfortable? You knew that because you played for the Blues in the past that you had the goods already, so I'm going to a new franchise, I'm already kind of the man.
Yep.
What led to that mindset of not being as prepared as you needed to be?
I don't know, man. Like, you're right, man. I was just complacent. I just thought, like, going into that team, like, because I had a really good campaign with Samoa before preseason.
Yep.
And I think it just got to my head, man. I thought I was like, sorry, I'm set. I'm all good.
Yeah.
Played Manawatu that year too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then COVID happened, and then like I put on a bit of weight because I was like, frick, COVID, not another COVID. And then I turned up to Moana preseason, and I'm like, man, I have to start all over again, And it was just like, when you think you're the man, Sole, God will humble you,
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
And that was like massive for me because I had to like recheck my goals or recheck like wake up, Sole, you got a family to feed,
Right.
you know? But ended up playing a lot of games that year, but it took a while for me to start.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I wasn't getting picked in the beginning, but then once I found my feet, I started playing. But then second year coming into Moana, same thing, bro. It was just like complacency. I was too comfortable. And then I think it was just like, because I signed a 2-year contract, I was like, I'm set, you know?
Right.
You know? And those are the traps they can set up, you know? Set you up for it. So I think like I lost my way or my goals just because I was like signed a 2-year contract. I'm sicky, I'm sweet, you know? And it's easy for us, like for myself to just switch off when you crack it, or, you know, when when you've like reached the top, it's easy for me to just like be like, oh, I'm here, you know? But looking back now, if I could change one thing, man, it's just like, don't be complacent where you are and keep challenging yourself. And I know a lot of boys are out there that work hard or that want to be there, you know?
Yeah.
And I wish if I could go back, I would change that, man, or just not being complacent.
Cool. Yeah, I heard something saying like, it's hard to make it, but it's even harder to stay at the top.
Bro, 100.
So that talks right into that, because, you know, as it's human nature, It's human nature to attain something, and once you got it, just to slack off, just to go back into, you know, the kind of your old habits and old ways.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, you see your like for example, like your Dan Carter's, you know, he stays at the top
100,
because he doesn't let complacency settle in, right?
Yeah.
That's why you got your, like in soccer, you got Messi. You know, Messi stays at the top. Sorry, because he doesn't get complacent. But yeah, that speaks right into that, eh?
Yeah.
Like, even though as a professional, you think that like you're the top of the top, but you still face that each and every day. It's like a battle as well for you. And like, so while you were saying about signing a 2-year contract, you know, so it is true that, you know, when people are on their contract year, they're in career best form, So it's like, it speaks right into that.
It's actually like funny you say that, because when I didn't make the World Cup selection, I came home and I had nothing, and I was getting paid for Samoa. My contract for Moana finishes in October, and when I came back, Sole, I was like, frick, what am I gonna do? You know? And that's when it hit me, man. Like am I gonna go back to work? But I had a week off, and this is where like I have my foundation, which is my faith, right?
Yeah.
And I have guys around me like Ere, he's massive on faith. And then I got my mentors at church with Tim Berry. Ere had sent me a scripture when I didn't make the team. I was like real down about that. But the difference between now, when I don't make teams, is like I gotta move on quickly because I got a family to feed. You know, back then I would be like, frick, I'll drink, I'll eat. You know, but in my case, when I didn't get named, obviously I was sad. I was emotional. But when I came back home, when I saw my kids, I was like, Sole,
that's what matters, eh?
Yeah.
I have to move on quickly.
Snap
out of it. But anyways, Eddie had sent me this verse, Philippians 4:6, which was, don't worry about anything, but pray about everything, eh?
Yep.
And at the same time, Tim had sent me this message, the same verse. So at that time, I was just praying, I was just praying for like God to open my eyes to why has this happened, or is this where you want me to be at the time? I got on Monday, and then on Tuesday I was lying in bed, I was chilling. I dropped the kids off to school and just chilling, and then I got a call from North Harbour. Was like, hey, you keen to come in to do a week to week?
Yeah.
Which is like you get paid obviously week to week.
Right.
You get paid for the week. And I was like, oh, yep, sweet. I'll just do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a contract. It was just like a PUDC. And then had my week off with my family, refreshed, went back that week. And I was just, happy to be where I was.
Right.
But that's where like God really opened my eyes to be like, this is where you are right now. It's either you're going to give 110% or just be complacent again.
Yeah.
So right now, man, I'm just like, I'm taking it day by day, but I'm just being present in the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not trying to think ahead. Even though I don't have a contract next year,
Yep.
I'm not signed anywhere. It's all up in the air. But God's like really put me like down to the bottom. Is like trust in me, train really hard, put it 110%, and just do what you can do, and I'll do the rest.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's such a cool learning to take away. For like us who aren't athletes and our jobs that really depend on our form at work. These guys have been in terrible form the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But such a cool learning to take away, from that experience. And I'm just thinking about how you said, going back to what you mentioned earlier, like these pillars for you, these people in your life, like your wife and your old man, your old lady, obviously the wife, and then having solid support systems around you, and just thinking about your story in general, like you've come up against what most people would have just like, I'll move on, I'll tap out here. And a big part of your journey is actually just been overcoming these adversities of trying to get to the field. And I think there's some really powerful learnings in that for us. But thank you obviously for sharing that with us, and thank you for your candor with us and opening that up to us, because I know that's not always easy to share, especially as an athlete. I think like for me, I look at athletes and I think, man, they got it together, and it just seems all fit in place, like and so thanks for sharing that with us, Urs, and we really appreciate that and I'm sure all of our listeners appreciate that as well. But before Bo fires off a few questions for you, you've mentioned that you're kind of everything's up in the air at the moment, but what do you envision the rest of this year like, and next year, and what are kind of your next steps? I actually want to go overseas and play, because I haven't really experienced that. I want to try and go overseas. I don't know where at the moment.
Right.
Like no clubs have showed any interest in me yet, and that's, I'm happy with that. I'm fine. But at the moment, I'm sort of just like happy to be playing at Harbour. Grateful as, man, like I'm actually enjoying this year more than ever, because it's where I started, like, and if God draws that line that this is it for you, man, I'd rather do that. I'll take that. But at the moment, I know there's more in me to keep
Still
going.
got some rugby in you?
Yeah. So I'm keen to go overseas. I just got to string some games together and put on a performance that I can show, showcase that I'm still here to compete, But
nice.
I'll love to take the family overseas, France, Europe, anywhere. Yeah. Even in Mala, like I heard that's popping off at the moment, So I'd love to try that out anywhere overseas. So.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Bo, you wanna?
Thank you, Chris. We firstly, I just want to address some of the stuff that Ray's been saying, and honestly, I can't be more proud of his career. And I remember a particular training, and I don't know if he still remembers this, but Ray actually took me out for training one day. I was still in high school, and I had been tapped on the shoulder for some like higher honors, and I was like at home and I was just chilling, and I got a text like, "Oh, let's go. We're gonna go down to the trust and do some training." Honestly, he already fungered me, and I was like, I had like,
I don't want to do this.
and I like spewed like after the second workout. But I remember Ray said something to me that I'll never forget it. Because at first I was like, this doesn't even make sense. But he said something like, he asked me straight up, do you want to make this team? And I said, oh, if it happens, it happens. And he goes, the things that you put in your mouth is what's going to come out. Yeah. And I was like, at the time, I was like, what do you even mean?
I got heaps of things in my mouth.
Put in your mouth.
Or something like that. He said, like, if it's in your mind and it comes out of your mouth, then that's what's gonna happen.
Right.
And like, I never. Obviously, Ray went on to have a stellar career, and still, still going.
Yeah.
I like rest in peace, like the year after that, but. Honestly, Ray, I couldn't be more proud of your efforts and your career so far. But what did you really mean when you said that to me? And like you really did inspire me at the time. Obviously, I chose a different path, but if life comes full circle, and I'm able to give you that whatever you meant.
Yeah.
Could you just explain a little bit? And do you even remember the training?
I do. The first training, it was actually Faye that hit me up.
Yeah.
Because she was because I was training with Negus that time.
Yeah. I
think Negus went to Samoa Sevens, but then Faye messaged me and was like, my cousin, he needs to make this team and he needs to do a bit of extra training, and that's when I first met Paul and and I told him, I was like, Sally, us will train at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
It was dark, at Just Stadium, and took this guy for a run. And then our second training was later in the afternoon, I think it was.
Yeah. It was
I remember you spewing, Sally, because oh man, we had a crowd there, eh? And, but I don't remember along the lines what I said to you, but that saying that I said to you is actually from my old man, and he just says like, it was more like, what you put in is what you're gonna get out.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be an eat-ass dude in your training, like it's gonna show on the field,
Right.
or you're not gonna get picked for the team, or So I'm a big believer in what you reap is what you sow.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So,
And from that moment, I knew Ray was gonna make it. But you just like in all seriousness, just that was him. That was his drive, and you could see it. And he was trying to, influence it on me. Just a little bit of context. I was getting shoulder tap for a legit team, not just these like.
I
and
remember.
And it was, and I remember Ray, and like to see him go on and achieve the things that he's achieved. My guy, the real.
Speaking of things in your mouth, I've been told to ask this to you, just from a source that we both know.
Yeah.
They asked me to ask you about the story about your cracked tooth. If you can share that with the viewer. I actually don't know the story, so this will be the first time I'm hearing it as well. So they asked me to ask you if you can share the story of your cracked tooth.
Can I ask you your sources? So when was this? It was ages ago, but I was riding a BMX bike.
This is the first problem.
They're by man.
What brown guy is riding a BMX bike?
Do you know Tepai course? Well, I didn't know how to ride a skateboard. So I thought I was the man on a BMX. So Tepai courts.
Yeah.
And
Is that the nipple course?
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
And you're like what, 13 years old? A couple of girls around. You try to do a trick and then you go and chip your teeth. But I used to get mocked hard out there about my tooth, and that particular person was the one that was feeding me with that chip tooth. So, but come say it to my face.
Say it with your chest, bro.
But you know, back in primary, and then you always get mocked about something, you know. But if you didn't if you weren't strong back then, you're just gangi, you go to the corner and gangi.
Kids these days. Okay, I think it would be a good point to finish on this, because this is kind of like a rounding up question. Obviously, you've played for a few different franchises, and you've played in for the Manu. Well, are we doing, because Ray's a forward?
We'll do a full 15.
A full 15.
Yeah.
Okay. A full 15. Okay. So we need a full 15. Do we want to theme it, or can we just do of all time?
The players he's played with.
Players played with.
So
His
all
greatest.
Yep.
If you was to coach a team and pick it tomorrow,
So
who
based
you
on guys
taking?
that you've shared the same jersey with,
Same undies.
from Harbour right through to Manu, and anyone else in between that you've played with. Let's start up front, eh? Do you need a second to think about this?
He needs a cup.
Yeah, he needs a cup to think about this.
Okay.
Aaron, do your job.
That's a good question, man. I
So
don't think about
starting
this.
15.
You're starting 15.
Anyone.
Anyone that you've
That I've
played
played
with.
with,
Anyone that you've played for. Yeah. Well, we'll give you a second to.
Well, Aaron's kufaing the other to the boys. What are your hopes for the Manu this World Cup? Obviously, you've missed out, and yeah, man.
Like, I don't know if you guys watched the game. That was a winnable game for us, man. And
Yeah, for sure.
I honestly don't care if they say that wasn't Ireland's strongest team,
What
bro.
does it matter?
Like, that's still the number one ranked team, you know.
Yeah.
You had a few guys in there that played over 100 games for Ireland. So, but for the Manu to put on a performance like that, surely they're only just getting started, man.
Yeah.
Man.
So, I'm fully backing them. They got a hard pull.
England, Argentina,
Japan.
Yeah, that's
and
Chile.
Chile. Yeah.
That's the pool of death, eh?
I just hope. Oh yeah, was it?
Yeah, I reckon it is.
Nah, these are
Probably
another one,
Tonga. Tonga's worse.
though.
Yeah.
England, Argentina, Japan.
Nah, but Japan's like.
Yeah, they.
I don't want to jinx it, but
Yeah.
Japan's they're like second to last.
Did you play that game?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, we
It's
got-
been 10 years, over 10 years since we last beat them. So
So that was a big.
But- honestly, I played Japan in the last World Cup. They were way stronger than that.
yeah.
I just, honestly, big wishes to Japan, but I reckon Samoa's got them, and
Yeah.
and obviously Chile, but you don't want to.
You don't want to.
you don't wanna
Yeah,
say-
those are the dangerous
Hey.
teams, eh?
Anything can happen, man.
Yeah.
Whoever turns up on the day, but I'm going. Yeah, I hope we win at least 3 games.
Just the addition of Lima Sopoanga, eh? That just makes a massive difference having a solid 10.
What's it like playing with guys like Christian, Leliafano, Sekope,
Yeah.
Jack? What's it like
Honestly,
playing with those guys?
I like Christian A. Like he is a true professional, man.
Yeah.
Like when I talk about complacency, that guy, routine like doesn't change.
Mm.
And you can already tell like he's still going. He's like 30. What? He's like 45. Nah, nah. He's 35. I think it was, and he's still playing like he's playing for the Wallabies. But that guy, man, true professional.
Yeah.
And I've learned a few things off that guy the last 2 years.
Nice.
Even Sekope, the same. When it's time to switch on, he's on. When it's off field, he's the maddest dude, man. Like
Yeah.
coolest dude.
Yeah.
Jack, I go. When I made the Manu, he took me under his wing. He helped me along the way, and I got quite close with Jack. So, just being best mates with him, and also getting to know Christian this year is it's cool as
Yeah, for sure.
to call him a brother, man. It's it's cool as yeah.
That banter at Moana changing room must be hilarious.
Yeah, bro.
Because it's got the Tongans, the
Yeah,
Samoans,
man.
and the Fijians.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just you can't keep your guard up. You just
Yeah.
get mocked there.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Who's the guy that's
Who's the kingpin?
who's the kingpin?
Christian?
Oh, true.
Brother Hodus. Like, if you say something and it's like wrong, like he won't say to you, and then he'll just like come up to you later and he's like, "Sorry, but remember when you?" But there was a few speeches this year, and some of the boys cried.
Yeah.
And Christian would come up to me, and he would just do this. Solid brothers, man. Like, that guy is a king mock, man. Like, he'll feed you, until you, like, he'll break you,
Right.
Like, if you don't mock with him,
Yeah.
and he'll break you, but yeah.
But before you give us your starting 15, I've always wanted to know this. What's your, well, not you specifically, but just wanted for a professional athlete. What's your pre-game ritual?
I don't
Do
really.
you, or do you have one?
Nah, not really,
Yeah.
Nah, I don't really have a pre-game ritual. Like, I do the same thing, but like not like, if I don't do it, then I think, oh man, I'm gonna have a bad game,
Right.
you know. But nah, I don't.
You don't have any superstitions, like.
What about post game ritual? Like anything after?
Yeah.
Is always just like your prayer and then your.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So obviously I always pray before I put on my jersey,
Right.
and then after the kalunga I pray.
Mm.
But that's probably the only one.
That's
that
the only
sticks to me
consistent thing that
since-
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I started playing.
Oh, interesting.
But I like to wear the same budgies.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you have some superstitions like that. Yeah, yeah.
Like it's a Massey Mafia one. Yeah. So you want to smell? You look
It's looking like.
So you want to start us off at the front row there?
Yeah. Let's get started. Your front row. Who do you have?
Man, probably one. White Crockett.
Mm.
Hey, all time, me.
Yeah. All time.
Where did you play with him?
Tasman.
Oh,
Yeah, he's lucky enough to catch his end of his career. I think that was his last time he played. Yeah,
he's actually tall. Like he's
man.
he's huge.
He's the man too, Like, down to earth, hard out. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't act like he's played over 200 super games.
Hooker.
So yourself.
Kevy, man.
Kevy.
That's two.
Legend.
I didn't play with him, but I've trained with him. So does that count?
Do you not get what we said in the beginning?
Well,
Mark?
what that? Hey,
sorry,
he's
sorry.
suspicious. You gotta put
Oh,
Kevin.
sorry,
in.
sorry.
Okay, you have to. Okay.
But from now on,
Not trade.
Who
but-
is
I have to
listening?
pasir por
Tired.
Sekope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wallaby.
Legend, man.
Yep.
3 World Cups. Eh?
Yep.
4.
Locks, yep.
Gotta go Philo. Come on.
Who?
Philo Polo.
Oh. Yeah, man. Fizz.
Fuzzy, yeah.
Yeah. Philo. He's one of the greats, man. Yeah, Manu,
How about Manu, yeah?
Harbour too.
Yeah.
So Philo would be 1. 4. 5. Theo. The
McFarlane.
Bro,
Yeah.
he's like,
Gosh. He's a
like,
freak,
honestly, man.
He's
The
an
things he can
athlete,
do, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying this now because in the future, that guy's gonna be Hall of Fame, bro.
Yeah,
know?
he's gone, man.
I reckon he's one of the marquee players at the moment. Like, we talk about Lima Saponga, hard out, mean. But that guy, man, game changer,
Yeah.
You know? We're up to 6.
Loose forwards.
Blindside.
And we're talking about anyone
that you've played
That
with,
you've played with.
like
Yeah.
same team.
Like we said at the start.
They could be professional or unknown, just your
yeah,
team that
even
you've
maybe
played
it's
at.
one of your boys from Massey or
Yeah.
yeah.
6.
Oh, we have to have a photo of him too, in the jersey preferably.
This is for our TikTok, so
Man.
Chris, you
So
really
many.
good?
Chris Foy.
Yeah.
Far.
Do you want me to pick your list for you?
I just there's so many guys, eh?
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
right.
I just don't want to like leave any.
Anyone
Yeah.
out, yeah.
You don't want to get messages like, oh, oh, leave me out, eh?
Chris Foy.
And then open side.
Your best friend Jack, or
He played 8 too.
yeah. Sorry, it's your list.
He's got
Yeah.
some good eights.
Jack Lamb.
Yep. Jeff.
Number 8,
Jack Ram.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Jack Ram for Tonga.
Give me some names, Os.
You must be.
What
hard
about
to come up
Hoskin?
with this.
Abraham.
Abraham.
Sole. Actually, though. Abraham. Hey. He was dangerous, bro, back in high school and his high school. I'll pick that guy, eh?
Yeah.
Because he's got a cool story too, so for him to carry on the way he's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually asked him to be on, and he said no, he's too shy. I was like,
Yeah, I'll take that back. Nah,
You're 9 and
I'm
10?
gonna pick,
And then you were like, yes, boss.
9 and 10.
9, Aaron Smith.
Mm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
10. Probably underrated player, most underrated player, man. Steven Pettifitzer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like,
Also a friend of the show, but
He's coming on next week. He's told Aaron.
I'll put him at 10.
in your wingers,
Mamba,
Black Mamba.
Mark. Yeah.
Fuck.
Mark Talia.
Tawida Lee. I can't.
Yeah.
Those guys,
Yeah,
those guys
Tawida Lee.
Bro, he was speed. He
Yeah.
was speed.
Those are my
Yeah.
wingers.
Yeah. Both the
Midfield.
same color. Yeah. Midfield.
Probably for 12, I have Avi.
Oh,
Anthony Tuitavaki 30.
yeah.
Eee.
And then fullback, I gotta put my boy there, man, George Pisi.
Hey.
Nice.
What a way to round out the list,
Yeah.
brother.
What
There's a
list.
few players, man. There's a lot of players out there, but
Any special mentions?
man, I'm Sean Stevenson. In.
Yeah.
Shawnee.
Freak.
He's the man, eh? And
Proper
I'm so
freak.
gutted for him that he didn't make the World Cup. Eh?
Yeah.
Good thing for Harbour, though.
Yeah, hard out, man. Yeah, grateful for him to come back and play for Harbour.
Can you give us the inside scoop where he's going next year?
The Dolphins or what?
He'll stick around, eh?
Yeah.
How you think about it? I actually don't know, but I think he'll stay around because
I heard the
Bodie.
Blues are looming.
Bodie's leaving.
Mm.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, is
the
Bodie
Blues are
leaving? I'm sure
looming.
he's leaving, eh?
Right.
Baden Barrett, is he not?
Blues, eh?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I
it's
think
after
it is.
post World Cup. Usually you're on.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So we kind of
Blues are getting Shawnee. You heard it here first.
Dolphins.
Man, imagine that guy playing league.
Yeah.
know?
He'll
Yeah.
be gone.
You know who else would be second at league? Mark Tillio.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey,
I agree.
100.
I'm pretty sure he got offered somewhere, but we won't go there.
Also, your story is really inspiring. A story of struggle, but also triumph.
Yep.
And there's some massive learnings for us as a friendship group, but also our listeners to take away. And we truly appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you for being open with us, and thank you for just imparting that knowledge, that experience, and
Mm.
more importantly, that perspective. You decide, baby.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it, eh?
Yeah,
A real honor to be on here. I love your work.
Thanks for coming on, brother.
Sure.
As always, catch us on Snapchat, YouTube, you decide, Facebook, whatever. It's on there. Just search us up. Shout out to our boys at the back, Mina and Bo, finally doing something. Shout out again to the Uso Jeff, Asa, the boy CK1. There's another one in the back, boys.
CK1,
Yeah.
you reckon?
There's
Laters.
Cheers, boys.